Okay, thank you everyone. Welcome back. We'll start now with the first pair of category presentations. So with coffee to start with, and then we'll go to pet care. And I'd like to invite David and Steve on stage to kick us off on coffee.
Well, good morning, everyone. It's a real pleasure to be with you again. I'm David Rennie. I head up our Nestlé Coffee Brands Group, and I'm joined on stage by Steve Presley, who is the CEO of the Americas. For the next 30 minutes or so, Steve and I are going to share with you the status of our coffee business. I'll take you through our global coffee business and our key global priorities, and then I'll hand over to Steve, who's going to walk you through our North American business, a business where we are leading and growing in the largest coffee market in the world. Nestlé is the world's largest coffee company. Over the past 3 years, we've been growing at around 8% per year, delivering close to 24 billion Swiss francs worth of revenues, and also UTOP margins of around 20%. That makes us Nestlé's largest and number one business. We lead the category in every one of our geographical zones, as well as in portioned and in soluble coffee. And these are highly attractive segments, both in terms of growth and in terms of margin. And we also have the three biggest and most iconic coffee brands in the industry. With Nescafé, with Nespresso, and with Starbucks, we have the three biggest brands and the only brands that feature in Interbrand's Top 100 survey. Now, the coffee category continues to be a very dynamic and growing category. Over the last few years, it's been growing slightly ahead of its historic average of around 5%, and that's largely been driven by COVID and then the post-COVID inflationary bounce that we got. When you see how the value of the category sits, it's very much as I've shared in the past. Roughly 75% of the value of this category sits within out-of-home. But when you look at cup consumption, where the cups are actually drunk, that reverses with 2/3 of all of the cups drunk in-home. Now, looking forward, we see this category growing at between 3 and 5% over the next 3 years or so, as it moderates post-COVID and that hyperinflation period. So where is that growth going to come from? Simply put, it's coming from three main drivers: more premiumization, more occasions, and more consumers entering this category. Now, we've seen some big shifts in the category in recent years. Coffee shop experiences still really set the tone and the flavor of where you're going to see innovation coming. But also, especially during COVID and post-COVID, young consumers are finding new ways to experiment and create coffees in their own homes, and that gives us unique opportunities to develop solutions for them. Coffee is no longer just hot, drunk in the morning. It's now an all-day-round versatile beverage drunk hot, cold, and flavored. That gives us huge opportunity to meet these new consumer needs with premium products. And then origins, terroir, coffee expertise, all of these trends continue to give us opportunities to premiumize this category at scale. All of these changes also lead to more consumption occasions. Now, in 2023, for the first time ever, indulgence overtook stimulation as the number one need state for why people drink coffee. That is a massive opportunity because that gives us different times of the day for coffee to be drunk. Additional cups in the afternoon, especially cold coffee, is going to fuel growth, and at least 1 out of 3 of those cups will be incremental to the category. The last area we look at is where new consumers will be entering the category. I've mentioned this before. There is still half of the world that drinks very little coffee. Even with the boom of coffee shop expansion in China, consumers in China, India, and large parts of Africa are only drinking 40 to 50 cups of coffee on average per year. The global average is well over 200 cups a year. This gives us huge potential as these markets, especially young consumers in these markets, get to experience coffee to meet their needs and delight them as the category grows. The other thing is young consumers are growing and growing fast as consumers of coffee. There are about 1.2 billion young consumers aged between 16 and 24. 1.2 billion. They already account for 20% of all of the coffee consumption in the market, and that percentage is growing fast. So more premiumization, more occasions, and more consumers. And we are best set to capture this future growth thanks to our unique strengths across the entire value chain. First, and I've mentioned them, our iconic brands. Nescafé is the world's favorite coffee brands. 1 out of every 7 cups of coffee drunk anywhere, anytime in the world is going to be a Nescafé. Nespresso, the leading premium coffee brand in the world that created a whole new category, is a business that already has sales in excess of 6 billion Swiss francs. And then Starbucks, the newest member of our family, a business that we only brought into the family 6 years ago, which defined coffee shop and coffee shop experiences for a whole generation, complements perfectly our other 2 brands and completes our iconic portfolio. We actually have a 4th brand, which I don't mention much in my presentation, but Steve will certainly major in his presentation, which is Coffee Mate, our 4th billionaire brand within the coffee family. Coffee Mate is essentially a North American business, and Steve will deep dive into that in his slot. Second, we have unique and proprietary technological advantages in this category. We have been developing fundamental research and innovation in this category for 90 years. And today we have 800 scientists and coffee experts spread across the company to develop new foundational technology and innovation in the category, as well as developing patents to allow us to get technological advantages into products. To give you a number, today we have 1,200 patents granted or pending on coffee alone. That, combined with a network of 5 R&D centres and 20 global roasteries supplying our coffee around all of our markets, gives us an unparalleled scale in the category. These expertise and capabilities enable us to bring together irresistible product superiority, and I want to give you a stat on where we stand on that. 85% of our entire coffee portfolio has a 60-40 preference with 0 losses. So we invest in making sure that our products are superior and winning in the market. And we're continuously improving our costs, driven by constantly improving a key bit of technology we have that's industry defining, which is our ability to extract more coffee extract from a green coffee bean. That technology allows us to get more yield than any of our competition. Third, our portfolio is built structurally to be more profitable in segments like portioned and insoluble versus the highly commoditized segments of roast and ground. So you put all of this together, combining our scale with our ability to innovate at scale, it gives us an unparalleled portfolio. So, since we last met in Barcelona, we've continued to drive strong results, and I'll take you through some of these strong results. But I want to say at this stage, given our leadership position, we are really far from complacent. We acknowledge these are challenging times, they're challenging times for the industry, and we're committed to driving continuous improvements to create category and share growth, and the efficiencies that will be necessary for us to fuel the future innovation and growth. So in both our in-home and out-of-home businesses, we've delivered consistent growth. Nescafé has proven extraordinarily resilient over the last 3 years, delivered good mid-single-digit growth across all of our network, and these results have come from developed and developing markets and across all of our formats, from soluble and ready-to-drink coffee to our cafe-style mixes. Nespresso continues to be a very strong business for us, especially in North America, where we continue to drive very high growth on the Virtuo system, and also in LATAM and in Asia, where we're introducing the Nespresso experience to consumers there. But Laurent called out, in Europe, we are not happy with our results. We're certainly not satisfied with them. And we've got some real focus in Europe on how we're going to make sure that Nespresso there continues to thrive and win. I'll give you 4 areas that we're focused on. The first is we're going to continue to drive the Virtuo system into Europe. We've been doing that now for the last 5 years. And again, as Laurent says, we know it takes time to establish these new systems, but we're investing in this system. We believe in it. Consumers really enjoy the system. And today it is the fastest growing system in the European markets. So Virtuo is number 1 of how we'll continue to build our Western European business. Second, though, is we're going to have to make sure that our products are more physically available to consumers. And we already have a number of areas where we do this, working with top-end department stores, specialist boutique stores, and specialist retailers to allow our physical distribution to go beyond where we are today, giving people the opportunity to pick up Nespresso in more points of physical distribution. At the same time, we're going to enhance our digital capabilities. We have a new app and website rolling out across 25 that will give consumers a much better experience when they come onto our site, allowing us to build loyalty and build sales through an enhanced digital experience. And then the last area is our Nestlé approved brands, Starbucks by Nespresso and Nescafé Farmers Origins. Starbucks by Nespresso already, only 6 years after launch, is a 600 billion Swiss franc business. And that's going to be key to our ability to appeal more broadly on this system to consumers in Europe and in other parts of the world. And that brings me to our Starbucks performance. Very, very happy with how Starbucks has performed for us. It's only 6 years since we closed the deal, 1.5 billion Swiss francs worth of incremental sales on this business. And it continues to grow very nicely by expanding into new categories like creamers and ready to drink, and really doubling down on these new habits and practices consumers have in cold coffee and in flavors. Next area we talk about is accelerating growth in out-of-home. We've already grown this business double-digit since COVID, so it's already growing nicely. It's a 2.5 billion Swiss franc business, and we've seen that double-digit growth continuing through the next 3-year period as we double down on getting the right solutions on our brands that delight our customers in this case, to allow them to delight their consumers. You'll hear more about that in a minute. And we faced into some strong headwinds. You know the coffee prices. We've talked about the coffee prices a lot. We've had 2 rounds of coffee pricing. We have led that coffee pricing, and we've taken that pricing into the market. All of that, I think, says that we're going to be well placed through 25 and 26 to continue to navigate these tough times. As I've said, we are not immune to the price of coffee, far from it. But our portfolio is better balanced and more advantaged given that we have portion coffee and soluble and are much less dependent on roast and ground. But we have priced and we will price. What will be different this time as we price is we're going to be much more sophisticated in using pack price architecture to land at the right price point for the right brand and the right format in every market. We're also going to continue to innovate as we price to make sure that consumers have a range of options in coffee that allow them to enjoy the category and enjoy our brands. And with that, combined with this technological advantage we have of being able to get even more extraction from the bean, I think we'll be well placed to navigate what will be tough times. Last thing I would say on this slide is, and we've talked sustainability, sustainability is still super important to us. It's at the core of who we are. We're the world's leading coffee company. You would expect us to continue to invest and develop our sustainability platform. And we are continuing through the Nescafé plan and the AAA program on Nespresso to lead the industry in sustainable farming agricultural practices. We have a big focus on regenerative agriculture, and you'll hear more about that when you're with us at the NR tomorrow. Our innovation will delight consumers and customers, And that's how we're going to grow this category. And it's focused on these three key drivers: coffee shop at home experiences, new consumers coming into the category, and expanding our out-of-home penetration. And I'm now going to take you through what those innovations look like. So first, coffee shop at home. You really can't talk about coffee shop at home without talking about Starbucks, the world's favorite coffee shop brand. One of our latest innovations, which was on Starbucks by Nespresso, a range of 2 flavored coffees, won Product of the Year in the French market. And as we expand Starbucks at home, we'll be introducing new creaming varieties, we'll be introducing new flavor varieties, new cold varieties, and continuing to build out our offer on Starbucks to attract all of the new consumers into our franchise. Steve is going to highlight in his section a very exciting piece of work that we've done joint with Starbucks to develop a real end-to-end coffee shop to in-home experience on Starbucks. Nespresso really embodies that European flair in coffee and has led the industry when it comes to looking for innovative ways to bring coffee shop experiences, especially expertise experiences, into home. So single origin, our reviving origins work. Maybe the most exciting of the newest opportunities we have is a cross-link with Vital Proteins to bring functional coffee closer to consumers on our flagship Nespresso brand. And then on Nescafé, we have continued to develop a full flavour range, indulgent offers that appeal to this pleasure need state, and products tailored to offer the very best cold coffee recipes. I'm now going to introduce you, with that as background, to our 4 big driving priorities on coffee. Probably the biggest innovation we have in the coffee shop at home over the next 3 to 5 years is going to be the launch of our Nescafé Dolce Gusto Neo system. This is a big bet, and it will deliver 100 million Swiss francs over the next 3 years. It's a breakthrough technology based on home compostable capsules and an eco-designed machine. It delivers a cup that is irresistibly superior, not just to Generation 1 Nescafé Dolce Gusto, but to all of our competition. It's a connected machine, and that will allow consumers to link directly with their machine and then directly with us to customize every cup that they have. And because the machines recognize every capsule, we can capture the data from that capsule, allowing us to understand consumer preferences, their consumption levels, and build loyalty and promotion with consumers by enhancing that digital experience. This is truly the first connected machine experience for consumers, and it's a big bet. You will see it in detail tomorrow. Now, we have built Nespresso. Laurent said it took us 10 years to turn the first dollar of profit in Nespresso. We have built Nescafé Dolce Gusto. Building a new system takes time, and it takes energy, and it takes investment. But we are committed to making Neo the next generation of coffee systems for Nescafé Dolce Gusto. And we're going to get to millions of households over the next 3 years. We're in 4 markets already, and we'll be expanding that to over 10 markets over the coming years. Let me now turn to the hottest thing in coffee, which is cold coffee. Out of home, 1 out of every 3 cups of coffee drunk globally is now going to be cold. 1 out of every 3. In home, it's only 1 out of every 7. So immediately you can see the massive opportunity we have to bring that out-of-home consumption trend in home. We're expanding cold coffees across formats, geographies, and consumer groups because it's going to be key to recruiting young consumers who are disproportionately drinking cold coffee as their first coffee cup. This whole segment is going to grow double-digit year in, year out for at least the next 3 to 5 years. And we've got 4 areas of focus of how we're going to capture that growth. First, freshly dispensed. You will see it in the foyer if you've not already had a chance to experience it. We are developing for our out-of-home customers complete solutions that allow them to prepare the cold beverages that consumers want to have in those out-of-home machines. So it's about flavour choice, giving them the flavours and the range of milks that you need to get an out-of-home coffee you like, plus, importantly, having ice on hand to make that iced drink. So freshly dispensed and fully dispensed in out-of-home is a big investment for us to allow our customers to experience that opportunity. Ready to drink. This is already $1 billion worth of sales for us, Swiss francs worth of sales for us, and I will go into this in a bit more detail about how we're expanding in ready to drink. Ready to prepare at home. Espresso concentrate and ice roast. Two fantastic pieces of innovation that allow consumers for the first time to easily create the cold beverages that they have in a coffee shop in their own homes. I'll take you through espresso concentrate in a bit more detail too. And then lastly, freshly brewed. We have a very big business. As you've seen, 40% of our business is in portion coffee. These systems are perfect ways for consumers to get that coffee shop experience in home. So fresh flavors, coffees specifically designed to be prepared hot over ice are coming on those platforms. So let me deep dive into ready to drink. We're expanding this category at scale, both with Nescafé and with Starbucks, in China, Asia, MENA, and India. In China alone, our Nestlé Smooth Latte is our single biggest Nescafé SKU, with 300 million Swiss francs worth of sales on one SKU alone. We are the clear market leader in China. We're the clear market leader in ASEAN, and we'll expand those brands through MENA and India, as well as beginning to establish a nice position in Latin America as we create a category in that continent where ready to drink is very underdeveloped. So we are focused on this. This will be double-digit growth for us as a platform over the next 3 years. The next one is Nescafé Espresso Concentrate, a new-to-the-world innovation that we've extensively researched. We've gone to many markets to find the size of the prize. We know the marketing that we need to put behind it. And this is a revolutionary product that will allow consumers for the first time, especially young consumers, to adapt to this cold coffee concept at home and create the sort of drinks that they want to create. From a nice latte, to a virgin mojito, to espresso martini. You can make any drink you want with this concentrate, and you will get the chance to experience this and create your own drinks when we're together in NR tomorrow. And it's combined with a new way of marketing these products. This is a product for young consumers, specifically those between 16 and 30. And when we roll this out, you'll see that the advertising that we use is not traditional advertising. It's going to be very social media heavy and very TikTok heavy to make sure that we connect directly with the consumers that are interested in this product. Let me take a couple of minutes to give you a deep dive into one of the markets that's probably the best example of how we can, over time, build the coffee consumption habit in markets that are not big coffee drinking markets. And this is India, probably our best example. India has consistently developed the coffee category, and the category is growing double digit and has grown double digit consistently since 2014. We see that growth continuing. This is a country where coffee is definitely growing and is becoming an important part of coffee consumption, again, especially for young people. How have we done that? We have given consumers a full range of Nescafé products to drink, from 2 or 3 cents all the way up to our most premium products. So we've given them a range of price points and experiences to have their coffee, and we've invested in the category over time, to the extent that if you go back 10 years, you would only have found coffee in 1 out of every 5 households. Now you'll find coffee in 1 out of every 2 households. So this transformation is coming. It takes time, but it's coming, and we're committed to it. And you see, we are leading the category growth because in India, we have an over 50% share of the market. So India is one of the markets where we're very confident about our ability to continue to invest and build out this category, and we will, because this is a category for the long term, and long term, we know that we will get inflection points in penetration. Let me finish my section then with the last of our drivers, which is out of home. This is a $2.5 billion business for us today, an important business, well spread through all of our zones, and it's a business that we want to grow at 10% plus. We've got a really strong value proposition, probably the strongest we've ever had, because we can offer our customers in this space the ability to have tin and spoon if they want, Nescafé in a large tin for small offices, all the way up to the most sophisticated machines that serve at multiple points of sale for sophisticated customers. So we have the complete range of products and brands to satisfy our customers' needs. We're also digitizing our network in a way that we've never done before, which allows us to sell directly to customers so they can get better and faster customer service from us. And we're also installing telemetry into our machines, which allows us to know when that machine needs serviced and when it's running low, to give them just-in-time service in terms of product delivery and machine service. So digitization is going to be a key way that we grow. And then we'll continue to innovate on machines and services for customers. If consumers are looking for cold coffee, they need a machine that delivers cold and flavored coffee. And we've got a great range of innovation in that space. So that's it for me for now. I'm going to hand over to Steve, who will take some of these themes and give you examples of how we're deep diving into those in North America. So Steve, over to you.
Thanks, David. And you'll have to bear with me. My voice, this is as good as it gets. So I'm going to try to project. For the people that had the misery of having to talk to me last night at the dinner, it's better today than it was yesterday. So I'll try to get through it. But thanks, David. What we want to try to do a little bit is give you an example of how you bring the global strategy to life in North America in terms of what it really means on the ground for us. And you'll see really great alignment. I'm Steve Presley. I run Zone Americas. For us, and coffee and creamer is one of the most important category. And when you look at coffee in North America, we've got a very strong leadership position and a really strong track record of performance. It's $7.6 billion Swiss franc, or 7.6 billion Swiss francs, with a 3-year average growth rate of 10.7%. So one of our highest growth businesses across North America, and a 35% share in in-home coffee. And it's really driven by this collection of great, strong, iconic leadership brands across all the segments in the category. If you look at Nescafé, tremendous growth in Nescafé in the US, I'll talk about it a little bit, but doing very, very well. Coffee Mate and our total creamer coffee enhancer portfolio, and then obviously Starbucks and Nespresso. And we're able to serve with leading brands across every single segment across that. And what it allows us to do is really leverage our position across all key formats when you think of how consumers take coffee. And I'll start over to the right, instant. Nescafé is one of our fastest growing businesses in the US and doing very, very well. Premium roast and ground is where the value creation is in roast and ground, and with Starbucks, we're the leader in that. Creamers, we're the significant leader in creamers. And in portion coffee, and you heard David talk about where the exposure to better parts of the category are, is where we actually have winning formats and number one positions in all those formats. And an interesting stat, when you take coffee and creamer, our coffee portfolio and our creamer portfolio in North America, we're actually in 3 out of every 5 cups consumed in North America between those, which is an incredible leadership position. And we take that leadership very seriously. And that business is developed not just in traditional channel, but also in the growing channels. We have 35% e-commerce penetration in North America, which has grown almost 1,000 basis points, 800 basis points since 2021. And it continues to grow very fast in e-commerce, and we have that leadership position. And our out-of-home business, now the 31%, I'd love to say that's going to continue as a growth rate for a 3-year average. It's obviously impacted a little bit by COVID recovery, so it's higher than what it is, but we have tremendous growth in our out-of-home capabilities. You heard David talk about some of the machines and some of the other systems we bring to bear, but we continue to accelerate growth in out-of-home with all of our brands across that. And I'll talk a little bit about how we bring that to life with customers. And so when you look at it, North America is the largest coffee market in the world. It's $120 billion, and it's really growing, just like globally, around 3 kind of key drivers that are driving the growth: premiumization, consumption occasions, and more consumers to the category. And when you think about premiumization, this talks about a love for the category. Like, how do you know consumers love the category? Why do you have this belief that long-term this growth is going to continue? 25% of the households in North America have more than 2 brewing devices or 2 different ways they make coffee. That's a love for the category. They don't just make it and go. They truly love the way they make their beverages, and they love to experiment. You heard about the indulgent growth in that. The second one is this willingness to pay. So consumers, 35% of the consumers in the category are continuing to be willing to pay at a premium level, and the trend continues to grow. Some almost 160 basis points of growth in terms of consumers moving to premiumization. And then the last one is in this personalization space. Personalization, the predominant personalization in North America is whitening, right? And we have a huge share. 70% of that is whitening, and that's growing at an incredible fast pace. And if you look across all of the demographic segments and you go to the youngest consumers in terms of coffee consumption, it's almost 90% of their cups are whitened. And as the leadership position, and it's growing at 500 basis points since 2019. So more and more, every single cup gets more and more enhanced, and we're the leader in that. So we drive premiumization. The second piece is this idea around consumption occasions. And you heard David talk about indulgence, but the other one is what cold really does is it allows you to play and lead in refreshments. Refreshments is the largest beverage need state in total across all beverages, not just within coffee. And as you look at refreshment, what cold really does, it unlocks the largest one. And for Gen Z consumers, 50% of their first coffee actually comes cold. That's how they get to know the category. It serves a very specific purpose, and it opened up the largest need state in a massive way for us across coffee. And we're very excited about all the innovation in that. And then the second one is functionality. We have amazing brands through our Nestlé Health Science portfolio and many of our other brands that consumers are already adding functionality to coffee with our brands today. But bringing those together in a platform to help drive the growth is where we see the opportunity. And because of the daily consumption of coffee, we see where functionality actually is a significant growth driver. And 80% of the consumers are interested in that. And then when you move to more consumers, look, we talked about Gen Z a lot. They're entering coffee younger. They're using it in more need states and more day parts, and every kind of good consumer trend you'd want, you have it with younger consumers, and they whiten their cups more, all where we lead. And then the second one is the fastest growing part of the demographics in North America is the Hispanic consumer. And Hispanics have a much higher affinity with coffee and creamers in the category. They actually over-index significantly in that. And so all those create really strong trends in terms of why is this coffee market in North America going to continue to have robust, and then our abilities to deliver against that. And when you look, you saw David's overall framework in terms of elevating that coffee shop experience, capturing the Gen Z, and expanding out of home. And for us in North America, there's no better example than what the Nespresso team has done really around the virtual line. It's been an incredible growth driver for us. Double-digit growth, really nice business in North America, continues to perform very, very well. But it's really about growing households. So it does 2 things. It grows households in the system, and they continue to expand households. And then it opens up the ability to bring our other brands to this platform. You saw the success of Starbucks by Nespresso. Starbucks by Nespresso virtual line for us in North America alone is a $200 million consumption sale item already, and we have an original line in addition to that, growing very, very fast. But it's also an incredible system to bring the functionality in with our brands like Vital Proteins, where we can bring those to the platform to drive growth. The next one is premiumization, right? We talk a lot about premiumization. What does it mean? And when you think about instant, so Nescafé is one of our fastest growing business in total in North America, and within coffee is growing very fast. And you look at it, they don't seem obvious. Traditionally, the North American market is not an espresso-based market. But today, almost 50% of consumers are experiencing espresso-based beverages on a consistent occasion. So espresso is where the beverages are moving. And this Nescafé Gold is launched, doing very, very well. The other one is this Starbucks Crema collection, which is a instant powder, where that's the fastest growing preparation method is no brew. We call that no brew. And both Nescafé Gold and Starbucks Crema actually deliver against that. And for these consumers, Gen Z, when you look at a lot of the growth in many categories, whether it's in VMS or protein or vital proteins around collagen supplements, growth comes in premium or powder, and that premiumization is in powder. So they see powder as a very premium form of delivery of that benefit. And that's why we have such strong growth in that part of the business. The second one is the first time really across the Starbucks franchise in North America. Traditionally, Starbucks would roll out innovation in the cafes, and then it would come to the in-home portion later. A year or two down the road, we would launch. This is the first one where we'll have an omni-channel launch across all channels, in cafe, in store, in our out-of-home business. Every single channel will have this Sincera blend, which is really a gap in the portfolio. If you drink a lot of the Starbucks blends in North America, they tend to be very dark roast. And there's an opening where around a third of the consumers in the US like a more mild blend. And the Sincera actually outperforms the leader in that mild blend space. So it gives us a very specific roast profile that'll allow us to win. And most importantly, it's this omni launch where you really leverage the power of Starbucks, not just within Nestlé, but the power of the Starbucks brand across Nestlé and our partner at Starbucks. And then the last one is just accelerating Starbucks by Nespresso. This has been an incredible success for us. We move it into cold, we move it into new flavor, we move it into enhanced beverages. Continues to grow at an incredible pace. We're very excited about the success we've had on household penetration and growth on the virtual line, and we'll continue to innovate around that, including iced, right? It's really important we get iced to this platform. And then a unique one, this is a very unique one to us in North America. We're the only one that has this capability at scale. We have the leading coffee brands, and we have nearly a 50 share in creamers today. And the ability to bring those together. So 60% of the consumers today, use this coffee and creamer combination. But really only 30% are pairing. So if you're buying our creamer, you might not be buying our coffee. Or if you're buying our coffee, you might not be buying our creamer. So the idea to actually leverage that and develop products specifically to work best with our coffee products and deliver the most delightful in-cup experience is what we're able to do with this one-cup mentality. It's about winning the finished cup with consumers. It's not about a black cup of coffee and an interesting creamer. It's about delivering an exciting beverage occasion for them through one cup. And that ability to do that comes together. Where you see it's Nescafe and Coffee Mate, and we're actually advertising them together in the campaign and talking about the value proposition on that segment, or on the premiumization where the Starbucks creamers are designed specifically to enhance the Pike's Place roast, which is the largest roast in that. And then it comes to life in store. When you look at how do we bring it to life in store? How do you really get one cup at the moment of truth at the shelf? And it's around this idea, this one cup strategy. So when you look at our platform in North America on Starbucks, we bring the creamer, actually, if you can see in the middle there, that's actually a refrigerated set where you have creamers on display with coffee. So at the moment to drive this merging of the two together, and it's working very well. Where we have it in place, we're actually seeing 4 times promotional effectiveness where we drive the one cup strategy across coffee and creamers. It's been a really successful growth driver for us. And we can't talk about creamers. Obviously, at every break, I get a question on creamers. Where are we? And the focus. You heard it from Laurent. You hear it from me. It is an absolute focus for us to reignite creamers. We've created this category. We're the significant leader in this category. And capacity is the easy explanation, right? But the implications of limited capacity are really the difficulty. And they're relatively long lasting. So we were capacity constrained, and we narrowed the portfolio. But as the leader in the category, you drive incrementality, you drive category growth through your innovation, through your flavor exploration, through your form exploration, and you can't do that when you're capacity constrained. So you really actually start to reduce your shelf space. You start to reduce your ability to innovate in that. And at the same time, we're in a heavy commodity cycle with significant pricing across the category. We outpriced our competitors slightly in this one, around 10% higher than the competitive set. But significantly what it is the behaviors that we've driven historically for the last 25 years to create this category, you're not able to do when you're capacity constrained. That's what's made this a significant mid-single digits growth category for us for a very long period of time. And now we've invested in this capacity. The new facility is open. If you take Glendale, Arizona, which is Phoenix, Arizona area, and our Anderson, Indiana facility, the two of those combined are the largest aseptic network in the world. And so we have tremendous capacity. We've added almost 50% of capacity to it. We're very excited. It's ramping up. We've brought new capabilities. The plant's been designed sustainably from day one. It's a digital lighthouse in everything it does. And so we don't have to go back and retrofit. We design it digitally, we design it sustainably, and we design it for future innovation. And so, so far so good. Good startup on that. And what it allows us to do is get back to leading the category. drive with pace of innovation, get back to winning our shelf, get our price point and our promo right, really get back to being aggressive in the marketplace. We'll double sales from innovation in 2025. You see we're already regaining shelf space. There's still more to do there. We're not done. Right? We want to actually over-index and share a shelf. There's still but positive. We're increasing the investment in the brand. On creamers alone, 30% increase in media, and we got our price gaps down to where they needed to be to actually allow us to win. And so you heard it from Laurent, you heard it from me. It is an absolute focus. It is one of the cells that we are critically must win in, and we've got the tools, we've got the resources, and we'll drive the virtuous circle to bring this back to life. And if we pivot back to the growth drivers and really this idea of capturing Gen Z and bringing this kind of fourth wave of coffee at home, you go to iced. It's not just about one product and expect the consumer. The consumer wants iced in so many different forms. This Nescafé Ice Roast for us, we've launched in the US. It's doing incredibly well. Very, very strong performance. It's an incredible product, simple product to make a delicious iced beverage when it's mixed with one of our fabulous creamers. It really performs very well. We have a ready-to-drink iced coffee under the Coffee Mate that's a multi-serve product that's doing very well. And then David talked about the Nescafé Espresso Concentrate, which we're super excited about. We think it'll drive a lot of growth as we continue to innovate around iced and cold and giving the consumer many different varieties in terms of ability to deliver what they want. Now that we've unlocked the capacity, it allows us to drive this experimentation. You see pistachio and lavender latte, those are the leading new flavors in cafe. So it's bringing the in cafe to in-home. We weren't able to do that previously the last few years. Or what's socially relevant around White Lotus. So you're seeing us bringing social cues around flavors to bring this Thai iced coffee to the marketplace. And those will be out in 2025. And I talked about this refreshment need state. You know, there's a trend in North America around dirty soda where they take creamers, and it's a TikTok trend. They take creamers, mix it with their soda. I know everyone's, especially many of my European colleagues, thinks this sounds gross. It's actually quite delicious. And we partnered with Dr. Pepper, which was the leading soda on TikTok that this trend consumers were driving, and developed a collaboration with them. It sold out immediately on shelf. We co-promoted in the carbonated soft drink aisle. It did incredibly well. We're very excited about, again, tapping into this refreshment need state. And then we talked about functionality. There is no better brand than Vital Proteins. The health science team's done an incredible job driving Vital Proteins, but the ability to bring functionality to coffee on consumer trend, they're already doing it, and bringing that link together is what we're excited about. And then this is one, I had somebody on break that was giving me a bit of a nudge on there. There we go. And we're really excited about cold foam. You'll taste it sometime in the agenda this week, but it's incredibly on trend. It's the #1 additive in cafes around cold foam. Now, what we're really proud about is superior product. So we didn't want to launch until we had a superior product. We wanted superior taste, superior texture, and superior nutritionals. We have 25% less sugar, 25% more servings in the can, better taste, and better texture. And with that, so we've got a winning product, we'll have a winning price, and we're going to have a massive campaign to launch this program. So in North America, we'll have a Super Bowl campaign to launch cold foam, and we're really, really excited about this as we bring this to life in terms of bringing the innovation and winning these new experimentation and creativity across North America. And then last, I'll close with just how do we bring out of home to life, right? At a customer, what does it really mean to have a portfolio like this? Just so this is an example of a lodging customer, or Marriott is the one we use. And we take all of our brands across, and we can serve in-room, in the little market shop cafe, in a restaurant, whether it's with Seattle's Best or Coffee Mate, or back of the house with highly efficient Nescafé machines, or if it's in the cafe with our proudly serving either between Blue Bottle, Starbucks, or Teavana. And your ability to serve every single beverage occasion across that campus is what we try to do in out of home. Whether it's on a college and university, a healthcare system, or a lodging, our unique brands and our unique portfolio of brands between coffee and creamers allows us to do that. In addition to that, as you heard David say, our capabilities and machine to deliver relevant beverages that the consumer want in a lower skill environment where operators can't really afford the expensive barista or whatever it is, or they're just not available. And so the ability to deliver those crafted beverages through incredible machines is what we're very excited about. And that kind of intimacy is what drives that growth you saw in out of home. And so with that, I'll turn it back to David for some key takeaways.
No, thank you, Steve. So, look, we're the world's leading coffee company with the world's most iconic brands. We are obsessed with delighting consumers and customers, growing our categories and growing market share, and we've got these 4 big priorities that are all set to give us good growth over the next 3 years. Nescafé Dolce Gusto Neo, ready to drink, espresso concentrate, and continuing to drive out of home. I think we've got this unique ability to lead all of these growth opportunities, not just in established coffee markets, but establishing coffee markets. So with that, thank you very much.